Hi everyone, we're the Hydra Sisters. I'm Natalie and
I'm Adrienne. Welcome in.
Welcome in. And we're in the beginning of December right now. And today we wanted to talk a little bit about spirit guides and pull some cards having to do with spirit guides. Before we do that though, we just wanted to talk a little bit about what's been happening astrologically. So we had a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio on October 31st, and we're at the beginning of December now, and the retrograde officially ended. I believe it was the 22nd of November, the retrograde officially ended, but we are still technically now in the beginning of December, and through the first week of December, through December 7th, we're in the post-shadow of the retrograde. What that means is that Mercury is retracing the steps that it made during the retrograde, and it's moving forward now, but it's going through the steps that we already had went through earlier. And so what that means in actual layman's terms is that if there were any missed messages or missed realizations that we didn't quite get the full benefit of or the full picture of during the retrograde that started on October 31st, we will be getting those last fleeting messages now, and sometimes delivered in great clarity and much more seriousness, because we are finally moving out of the shadow phase, and those last hits are going to be coming through. So for those of you that had some really epic dreams or some epic messages that you had received during the retrograde, you can still be anticipating that you'll be getting some of those messages as you are into the first week of December here. Oh, and look what we have. On the bottom of the deck, I have the Pluto card, which is Judgment. And so nothing better than Gabriel sounding the horn here and waking everybody up. We might have one more big message that comes through where we hear the horn is sounding, and we're all coming up out of our graves and learning the things that we didn't quite get before.
So, Natalie, I have been working for the last year with my own intuitive development coach, Reese, and she has us spend a lot of time looking at who our guides are, where we get messages from, how do we tap into those messages. And I have a guide that I have for years gone to for information, but honestly, I struggle with going and communicating with my guides. I think, and for folks out there who don't necessarily have the same understanding of what spirit guides are or who they can be for you, like what kind of advice can you give someone to help communicate with their spirit guide?
Right. So that's great, Adrienne. Thank you for the question. I think that one thing we want to look at is many times in childhood, and I know we don't always remember everything about our childhoods, but a lot of times we develop a relationship with an imaginary friend in childhood, or we have some type of entity that we can remember. We had a doll that we had, or a G.I. Joe that we had that we gave a name to, that we always played with, that we always looked at, that we might have talked to when we were younger, that was a well-loved doll of ours, or a well-loved little miniature G.I. Joe, or whatever it might be. If you can think of the name, and I do think it's great, the name that you give to your spirit guide may not be the name that they actually have in the ethers, in the other planes, but it's a name that you can give them, that you can associate with them. And when you're in situations that are difficult or challenging, you can call your guides, and you can definitely, and even when you're in a happy situation, you can thank your guides as well too. So when you're thinking about naming your guide and who is your guide, that might be a very powerful place to start. And I know when I was a child, I had a doll that I saw this doll in a shop, and I didn't have a lot of dolls growing up, but there was this one doll that really caught my eye, and I cried when I didn't think I was going to be able to get this doll, which wasn't a thing that always happened with me, but I named her, when I got the doll, I named her Emily, and that name has always been with me, and that has always been, as I recall, through my 20s, through my teenage years, it's been a name that I've always felt very tethered to, and felt that this loving maternal presence with me, this angelic presence, and our guides aren't always angels, but
They can be both masculine and feminine energy.
Right. Yeah. So that was
And
always,
it doesn't necessarily doesn't have to take a specific shape. It could just come to you. You can let it drop in.
Right. Absolutely.
So one of the things that you can do is just sit quietly and just ask the universe who wants to communicate with me and see what happens.
Right? I love that. That's the embodied spirit experience with spirit. Who
Mm-hmm.
wants to communicate with me right now? And I guarantee your guides
trust
want to communicate with you.
Totally. And trust your intuition. Don't make it mean anything if it's, like with some of the other women that I work with in my intuitive development group. When we first did this exercise, one of the girls was saying he had like a random name. And she was like, "What is this? Who is this guy?" And Reese, our coach, she just said, just let it come to you. Doesn't have to necessarily make sense.
Right. It doesn't have to. There are very powerful meditations as well for meeting your guide. And there's a woman on YouTube who, she's a great psychic. She's very experienced, and she has a wonderful meditation, a deep meditation for meeting your spirit guide. And we can leave that link here to her channel and what that is, but with her permission, of course. But anyway, there's, they have some great meditations on YouTube where you can meet your spirit guides and to take you deep into meditation. And I've had some very interesting experiences with that too, with certain meditations.
Yes, you'll have, absolutely. So different realms will bring you different guides. So depending on what energy you are manifesting at the time, it might be a different guide. It might be the same guide, but it also might be some other.
It might be another
energy.
guide.
Yes, absolutely. Depending on where you're going, what you're looking at, what you're trying to see.
And if you're frustrated too, I also want to point out that the archangels are perfectly amazing guides too, and you don't have to be, super religious and going to church to call upon the archangels and the power of the angels. So, Archangel Michael has always been a very important archangel to me. I mean, all of them are important, but particularly in stressful situations or situations where I feel out of control and things are looking a little scary. And I also put Archangel Michael, as the protector and controller of my crown chakra. Not controller, but you know what I mean, the protector of my crown chakra as well too. So angels are very powerful as well, guides and angels.
Different angels will different guides will. You can create a space, or you can ask the guides to help you with specific things. So one guide might help you with making decisions around your business,
right,
or your work stuff. One guide might assist you in understanding specific relationships.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
the relationship you develop with that intuitive communication.
And some guides are a lot more kick-ass than other ones. I mean, when I say kick-ass, I mean really tough and really, our dogs are,
tearing up the house.
Tearing up the house right now. But, you can see a beautiful shot of the Space Needle in the background. Look at that this evening. But anyway, so, your guides some of them have different personalities too. Like, I know I have a guide who's very cutthroat and is very loving towards me, but also will rip situations out of my hands if they're no longer... Yeah.
The dogs are talking to the guides.
Yeah, right? The dogs are barking at nothing right now. So, shh, babies.
Are you talking to somebody? You get some communication coming through? Buggy Bear, come here.
Yeah, we love our dogs, but they're
our guides.
They're also our little furry guides.
I totally feel like my dog is like an incarnation of an energy. He's like one of my soulmates. He's my little Buggy Bear. He's encompassing bear energy.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point, Adrian, about animals and animals as our guides, and embracing that too. Animal totems and looking at that. Animal totems is helping us down the path and showing us where we need to go next and protecting us on certain phases of our journey.
Yes. Okay, so let's pull some messages from Spirit right now to see what it is that we might need some guidance around this week, energetically. What did the messages from the guides want to come through as we shadow through this Mercury retrograde phase?
I love that shadow through. I love that phase. I love that expression, and I guess I love that phase too.
Mercury retrograde for me was not as intense as I've heard it be for other people. I don't want to. Let's knock on some wood right now. Oh. All right, guys. It was me. It was me. It wasn't the guides. Back to you in the studio, Natalie.
Yeah.
I mean, we're live. That's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got
Buggy bear. Bug.
Yeah.
Come here. Come here, dude. Come here. Oh.
Yeah, right? Right. We know, Bug. We know what it's like. We know what it's like. This card's come up several times as I've been shuffling, and I love her because she's wearing a shirt similar to the shirt that I'm wearing right now, and the colors on here are similar. I guess just the colors are similar. But, you know, some guides are here to pull the wool from our eyes, are here to unveil us and help us to see more clearly. And, you know, the Eight of Swords is all about clarity and seeing clearly and taking off that blindfold, and also too keeping the blindfold on when we need to, because sometimes we're not meant to physically see everything in the 3D. It's also the internal trust and the place that we go to when we need to just
strength there.
Spiritual strength, where we just need to trust ourselves, and we don't always have a logical answer for everything that happens. So, and the swords definitely want a logical answer, and here she's blindfolded. So we're saying there's not a logical understanding for everything, and we have to be okay with that.
Yes. Trust. Trusting our intuition, letting our guides guide us.
And Adrienne, what deck are you working with today?
This one, right now, I'm going to pull just a few cards out of the Psychic Tarot. Or, what am I using? Yeah.
Psychic Tarot, yeah.
This is the Psychic Tarot.
It's an amazing deck.
Yeah.
Beautiful purple
deck.
color. Right?
What about you?
I've got my trusty old, I think it's Universal Tarot with the gold on it. I
love that deck.
Yeah.
I love the colors.
I've just been enjoying working with it lately. I was using the Witch's Tarot for a while, which is also a great deck, but this has just really felt like I wanted to work with these. And then I also have Adrienne's cards over here that I'll be working with, which are the Dream Oracle cards. And
that Natalie gave me for my birthday.
Yay!
Thanks.
Right, and for you listeners out there, being gifted with a tarot deck is, you know, one of the greatest things, because it's like somebody really put effort and thought of you and really gave that to you to honor you. And so if you ever are on the recipient end of being gifted a deck, that's really beautiful.
Okay, you guys. So if you're enjoying our video and you're getting some information out of it and you'd like to hear more, please let us know. Comment, like, share, subscribe. We would love to hear from you. We really want this to be a platform for others to have the opportunity to evolve into the greatest versions of themselves.
Bridge. Stay strong and remain connected to what's important to you. So a couple times now we've been talking about spiritual strength. It seems like that's the message that wants to come through here, and I do feel the presence of a guide here. I just got chills when I said that, who wants to talk to us about being strong and being the authority of spirit and being strong. So we'll see what we...
I got truth on the bottom here.
Ooh, the sword of truth.
We've got the universe.
The ultimate authority.
We've got some mental conflict. And new beginnings.
Yeah.
Coming out of that retrograde shadow.
Well, isn't this interesting? 0 and 21.
Oh yeah.
That's
and she's standing on
the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful.
New beginnings. Endings and beginnings, right?
Endings and beginnings. We're coming upon the end of this year, moving into a 2020.
Right? Into 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So crazy. Oh, my dog is in the back.
We got a climber.
We got a climber. She's trying to get over. Uh-oh.
This is so interesting. So, being honest, being truthful about where you are and where you're headed.
Yeah.
What were you saying? Pulling the veil off your
Yeah,
eyes?
pulling the veil back and really seeing. I love this mental conflict card here, which would normally be like the Magician card, which is associated with Mercury in a normal tarot deck. This is also a tarot deck too. It's just a psychic wisdom tarot deck. So I love that part of the face is showing here, and we've got the mental conflict. We've got one side of the brain being lit up here. We've got one side that it's the right side, the right brain that's looking very fired up. And then we've got the logical left brain. And here on the right side, we've got some worry, right? We've got some worry that's buried back there in the mystical part of ourselves. And so I think this comes up when we want so badly to have a deeper connection, but we hang on to linear thought. We hang on to being ruled by logic and linear thought. And when we want so deeply to have these embodied experiences, these mystical experiences, but we experience conflict about that, and I think the 0 and the 21 here, the beginning and the end, are basically just showing a clearing out of that. Mm-hmm. It's a clearing out of the confusion and the mental conflict that we experience. It's basically wiping the slate clean, and I think that's where the truth comes in, and where we need a lot of strength as well, where we need to be very strong and persevere, especially if we're having a beginning or an ending. We need to be very strong and persevere through that. And there can be a lot of conflict in that. There's, it's like, is this a beginning? Is this the end? I don't know, right? Am I showing something I need to let go of? Or am I embarking on something that's a new beginning? And I think that the mental torture of that can sometimes be quite hard, because how do we take situations, right? When things happen to us or things are happening, how do we take the situation, right? Are we taking it for our growth? Are we taking it like as this is horrible?
Is it happening to me? Am I a victim to these circumstances? Yeah, and just really moving out of that conflict. And that everything is here to help you. Right? Yes. Yeah. That's I know that may sound cliche. I'm a huge fan of Matt Kahn, and he has some really good literature out there. What's the name of the book? Great book. Anyways, check him out, Matt Kahn. The idea is that even in the most difficult circumstances, there's so much value. You learn so much in that space. Right. And to love whatever.
Our dogs are in a difficult space. Yeah. Well, while Adrian steps aside for a second, you guys can see the beautiful Space Needle in the background here. Yeah. But let's maybe look at some of the ways that our dreams have been guiding us in the last month with this Mercury retrograde in the shadow phase. Let's look at what our dreams have revealed, especially as it relates to messages that we've received from the spirit world or downloads that we may have missed. Okay, so I'm covering a lot of ground there with what I'm saying. Let's pull some cards then, intention setting, with messages we may have missed from the Mercury retrograde. So let's think about those messages and let's pull them through right now. So we ask Spirit to pull through these any missed messages from Mercury retrograde. Ah, you guys can't see the cards yet. I will. Oh my. Oh wow. Oh my. There are, oh wow. Okay. There are some there are some big messages that are still coming through and going to be pulled through in the next week. So try to keep a dream journal if you can, but we have some very strong, beautiful messages here. So we have angel, childhood home, and departed loved ones. So my read on this is that you have a departed loved one from your childhood home. So somebody that was with you in your childhood home, whether that be a mother, a father, a grandparent, a brother, or a sister that was with you, that you were close to, that departed. And this person still has a message for you and would like to get through during the rest of this shadow phase here. And your angels also still are wanting to come through. And maybe you're going to be having some dreams about your childhood home. But on this card, it says, remember where you really come from. Okay, so we get caught up in our current lifetime and what we're currently experiencing in this lifetime. But we have many, many lifetimes, and we have many, many homes. So this is asking us to expand our awareness with that and keep in mind that there are departed loved ones here who want to get the message through. And I see the swirls on both of these cards. As you can see that they're both like windswept swirls on these cards, which looks like, you know, it's not easy for people to get messages to us. And I think that's why we need to take advantage of what we have now. Also, I want to mention airplane here too. So those of you that are going to be taking any trips on an airplane for the holidays or have recently, if you experienced any bad feelings on the airplane, or you felt like, you know, something was going to happen, your loved one was with you and was helping you through that. And I know I don't know how everyone reacts to turbulence or how everyone reacts to situations that are very destabilizing, but your loved one wants to remind you that you're safe and they've got your back and they're watching you. So anytime you're going to be on a plane in the next 7 days, or you were recently, keep in mind that you in particular may have a message from a departed loved one that really needs to come through in the next 7 days.
Yeah, so in alignment with what we're talking about related to the guides, this really, to me, is that encompassing that energy. Tap into your higher wisdom. There's a message that is trying to come through, and it could be from a departed loved one about, you know, reminding you who you are, how far you've come, the roads that you've traveled, and to keep stay in your truth and keep the end in sight. Keep your eye on the prize. Both of these cards are in a spiral. Energetically, something, it's like,
and this is in a spiral too.
Yeah,
the universe.
Totally. There's something energetically that's pulling for you, and there's some messages that want to come through related to how far you've come and where you're headed. And the airplane is look, and the airplane is a spiral too. This is amazing. Yeah, I see this as a representation of a journey. Spread your wings and fly.
Definitely beaming light on the heart chakra here too. We've got the beautiful green at the base of this card, and then we've got the light coming in right at the heart with the arms going up like that, and kind of a feeling of like, I'm going to spread my wings and fly, or let me receive the message, or I'm going to pull down the message, right? So I think that this is also a beaming light into the heart chakra, and helping release if there's any wounds, if there's any childhood home wounds that people are still grappling with. And I know we can grapple for a lifetime with those, and it's okay. And, you know, we'll work through as we work through that. But I do see that there's a healing there. There might be a new level of healing that is available right now, a new level of understanding and healing that, and I really felt this in my own life too, Adrienne, a new level of understanding and healing, and some insights that I've gotten recently in the last couple of days. So I would encourage, you know, if you're kind of, it's the holidays, if you're ruminating on past situations, or you were with family last week for Thanksgiving and you had some hard things that came up again, there may be some messages for you that have to do with a better, I don't want to say a better perspective, but greater freedom, like greater freedom that's available to people out there right now. So definitely we want to look at that. What if we pull some tarot cards now, and we look at...
Yeah, this is just great. This is beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah. There's a lot of, you know, like coming out of this Mercury retrograde and in the shadows phase, there's a lot of sort of stuff coming to the surface.
And we want to be gentle. You know, that's another word that I just heard that was channeled to me. And, you know, we could really be reaching in for the angels right now, but that gentleness is a way that we want to move, right? We want to, when we're going through big transitions and we're having big realizations in our lives, we want to be gentle with ourselves and be gentle with the people around us. So just a reminder there that we are gentle in our approach.
Spirals are all about leveling up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of spiral energy, and you know, Adrienne just pulled also out of her psychic tarot deck. This is literally the spiral of ourselves, the spirals that, the journeys that we undertake, and the galaxies that we've traveled to, and the places that we've been, which are many. Okay, so let's pull some tarot cards, maybe with the intention in mind of pulling some, for those of you that are listening or watching today, pulling some messages from your spirit guides that that are wanting to come through.
Wow.
Some more specific messages.
Okay.
Oh my.
I know.
Oh my. I almost don't even want to pull. We could just look at Adrienne's here. She has a great, you've got the universe twice.
Yeah.
You've got the universe twice there.
We got endings
right?
and new beginnings.
And you've got an angel there as well. You've got the angel and the judgment card at the top blowing the trumpet. And at the beginning of this reading, at the bottom of my deck was judgment, and I showed you guys judgment, right? So
at the bottom of the psychic tarot is the truth.
Yeah.
And we got the Ace of Swords.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
It's Archangel Michael with the truth and the throat chakra coming through strong.
Being true to who we are, being true to what we want to create, being true to what doesn't serve us any longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
ooh.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Manna from heaven. Manna from heaven, right? Looking at that Six of Pentacles and where the coins are coming from, it's like manna from heaven.
And this is so interesting that the Seven of Swords is on the bottom. That feeling of not being honest.
Right?
That experience of not being
non-truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, untruth. Well, and also
and the pain that causes.
the mental conflict,
Yeah,
right?
that
The
mental conflict of not being true to yourself and true to your word and in integrity. And gosh, this is so powerful. This is so great.
So if we
don't want to pull some cards?
Yeah, I'm just like, wow, this is really interesting, right? So maybe I'll pull a few in a minute, but so let's look at what we have out on the table here. So we have the Ace of Swords, we have Judgment, the Universe, Six of Pentacles, and the Hierophant. Now, what's really interesting about this is that we have 3 major arcana cards here. And so there is a message that is needing to come through in these next 7 days of Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, and going through the shadow phase here. There is a big message that needs to be delivered, and it's Gabriel sounding the trumpet here.
Yes, truth and transformation.
Sprinkling the truth down.
Yes.
Right? We're sprinkling the truth down here, and we see that these even look like the sprinkles that are coming out of the trumpet here. So we're really looking at a big message. Of course, the Ace of Swords is a message, a huge message. Let us fix our thing here. Maybe not great either. Okay. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Thank you. Thanks, Adrian. So really looking at now these cards right here, these are very ethereal cards that are not, that feel otherworldly, right? Look at these backgrounds on these cards. The blue background and the space on these cards is very otherworldly. Now these 2 cards at the bottom, or at the back here of the reading, the Six of Pentacles and the Hierophant, are very earthly. This is where the Hierophant, we bring the messages down to earth. We bring things down to earth, and this is actually the process of receiving the manna from heaven. And so I would really look at these 3 cards as the message, and this is the process of integration right here.
So being honest with where, like, just the come to Jesus.
Right.
Just being honest with where you're at and looking at that, being honest in what you're doing, what you're up to, what you want to create, and releasing what no longer serves you so that the new can come to you, so that the new opportunities for you to evolve into the greatest versions of yourself.
And I definitely feel that this truth that you're receiving is not just for you. There's others that are benefiting from this, and it might be, this is a collective. This is a collective opening. So this is kind of a group opening, and also with the Universe card, this is like everyone. This is like everybody. So my feeling on this is that the human collective is getting an upgrade on truth, and we're seeing it manifest in our worlds in different ways, and situations are being brought to the surface in people's lives, but it's a humanity thing that's happening right now. It's an upgrade in the overall human landscape where we're getting more in touch with our truth. And we're receiving more information about it, and people are hearing it too. People are hearing others in their truth. And I know there's a situation recently with my boyfriend, in fact, who shared some information with his family that was a deep truth that he shared. And so when you share your truth, you liberate others. It's not just yourself that you liberate. It's not just your own truth, but you liberate others as well when you stand in your truth. And so I think that is, that's a big, and this is
powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah, this is a Oh, oopsie.
I think that's a really good. I think that's a really good point. That when you're living your truth, you hold the space for others to do the same.
Right? Yes.
And this is a very tangible card. This is very, the Pentacles and the Hierophant. I see this as being, you really being in a place of victory in what you make commitments to, and things that you actually commit to doing, and seeing those commitments through, whether it be, around goals and goal setting,
right? Yeah.
Relationships, work, whatever it is that you're setting your sights on, or have set your sights on, around things that you want to make commitments to in your life that will help you evolve into your greatest version. These cards are here to remind us that that's actually what's happening.
Absolutely. And the thing to remember about the Hierophant too is the Hierophant is the one that has the mystical or the metaphysical knowledge that's bringing that knowledge down to earth and teaching others, right? So this is where we've already received the download in the Magician before, and we've already had our creation with the Empress, and we've already set up our structures with the Emperor. In the fifth card, we're really about teaching others, and so this energy of teaching through truth and sharing through truth, even though you might be worried about the conflict that it creates, or the fact that if you say your truth, it's going to hurt others.
Right, totally.
Because we do have the world and judgment out here on the table, and judgment isn't always pleasant. It's not always pleasant. It's not always all rainbows, puppies, and sunshine. Judgment can be tough, and so. But it brings in a new era. It brings in a new era of...
It's a day of reckoning.
It is. Yeah, it's a day of reckoning. It's like the day when things happen that...
It's Judgment Day.
It's Judgment Day. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that there's some very key messages there. And I think in the next 7 days, we still have more work to do with that. Humans in general, we have a lot more work to do. We're not going to accomplish it all in 7 days. But we're going to
There's a lot of work that's going to be done in the next 7 days.
We're going to get a lot of information, though, and that's what's important. We're going to get a lot of information that we need to make these upgrades.
Clear, honest, illuminating information. Yes. A transition from the futility, from the mental conflict, from the dishonesty.
From the Three of Swords, right? If some of us have been going through Three of Swords and going through heartbreak and going through transitions and heartbreak with the Three of Swords here, getting real clear about where we are in situations and where we want to, where we want to stand in that, where we want to stand in our truth. So there's always an interesting conversation about truth anyway, where, people are so, hell-bent on this is my truth and it's not anybody else's truth, but it's mine. And, some people take some flack for that and then there's all these conversations around what is truth then? Who gets to define the truth? Who gets to own that?
Yeah, and where's that line between truth and righteousness?
Right? Yeah, with the Hierophant,
and would you rather be right and alone? Or, would you rather be in a space of having two truths exist?
Right.
I mean, for me, it's really how in alignment with my value structure is that truth.
Right.
Because your truth might not be my truth.
Right.
But is there space for both of the truth to exist?
Beautiful. I love that.
And where do we evolve from that space?
Right. Where do we evolve from the space of truth? And, sometimes with the Hierophant, we can get very dogmatic about what our truth is, and to the exclusion of everyone else's truth. And so, that's where we got to watch out for situations like that. And especially with the Six of Pentacles energy, we need to be careful of situations where things are not equal and things have gotten very out of balance.
Yep.
So, yeah. I think that's our dog saying it's time to roll out of here. It's time to roll out of here with our energy today with this read. I was going to try to pull one more card for us for messages here.
Bug, that is enough. Bug,
messages.
Come here.
Well, I shuffled twice, and what showed up at the bottom of the deck was the Magician. So I think we're going to stick with the Magician because the Magician is Mercury, and we're talking about Mercury in this episode, and we're talking about truth and communication. So for those of you that are on the quest for better conversations, elevated conversations, conversations that actually mean something, where things are getting done, and conversations that are illuminating and
with truth and integrity.
Yeah, and I think one point we want to bring up is
with the Magician, you have everything you need.
Yeah, right?
You have all the tools necessary to create this, to manifest this truth, to have the ability to transition from, the endings and the new beginnings, and really working through whatever those conflicts are that are the blocks to manifesting what's on the horizon.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, you guys, we'll leave you on that note, and we'll see you next time.
Cool. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, comment. Let us know what we need to do for you guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.